biggest crisis right now is not the freedoms that have been taken away. It's rather the freedoms that we don't know about and we're not using.
Amen.
And that's what we really want the message we really want to get out there.
I wanted to ask you one other question, Mr. Dacus. Before we finished, and I would like to ask your opinion from a legal standpoint and from a constitutional standpoint of the state of civil liberties for the average American citizen in light of the Patriot Act and warrantless wiretaps and the proposed national ID card.
Oh, sure. Right now, I just say we have to be, I'm anti-criminal, but we need to be very careful to make sure that what's being proposed is not taking away our freedom and liberty. And so we need to be critical thinkers, and no matter whether it's Republican or Democrat proposing it, we need to make sure that our congressmen are scrutinizing it, making sure that it's not being overly broad in its discretion. Our national security measures, I think, are very valuable. I think when people get on an airplane, for example, having sufficient identification is very important, and the scrutiny is being taken care of there. There are valuable things to be done, but we need to be very careful that we don't just write a blank check that give away our freedoms.
Well, I agree with you on that. And Mr. Dacus, I appreciate you being with us. That's pacificjustice.org, Pacific Justice Institute. You're a real patriot fighting for freedom, and I appreciate you joining us here on the Real News Radio. I'd like to have you back again and keep us updated on what you're doing and how all this turns out. And we'll be in contact with you. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we want to take your phone calls, 873-1400. We're going to be covering some other news on air at therealradionews.com, and we'll be back after the break.
Do you owe the IRS?
All right, we're back with the Real News Radio. We've got a phone caller. Before we finish up today, we want to have our email and tell you about our poll, but right now we're going to go to our phone call. Are you with me, sir?
Yes, I am, yes.
How you doing today?
Good. This is Dave.
Dave.
How are you doing today? First of all, I'd like to say that you and Brian are doing a great service to the community with the show.
Oh, thank you very much. You're very flattered. I appreciate that very much. I'm sure he does too. And I appreciate you calling in and supporting us and spreading the word. What would you like to add today?
Well, what I'd like to add is on the front of the business section in today's Charlotte Observer, at the bottom there's a story about rising grocery prices. Now, people are kind of under the assumption that it's strictly inflation and the cost of the fuel that's driving up grocery prices. But there's additional factors here. To quote out of the Charlotte Observer, a portion of the story is, the wheat market has been pushed higher by a combination of agricultural, financial, and energy issues. Poor wheat harvests in Australia and parts of Europe and the U.S. have caused China and other Asian countries to buy more American crops, which are especially attractive because of the weak U.S. dollar. At the same time, the American crop is shrinking because of federal incentives to grow corn for ethanol, and skyrocketing gas prices make it costlier to get any wheat to market.
Mm-hmm.
The same pressures have also made it more expensive to supply feed grains for dairy and poultry and beef cattle, driving up costs through the grocery store.
Right.
So it's kind of a perfect storm of bungling that's coming together. There's a number of factors. It isn't just the inflation. To quote Homer Simpson, stupidity got us into this mess, and stupidity will get us out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Total incompetence by the federal government and the way they've handled our economy is what's got us here. And given the fact that the three that are running for president, I have absolutely no faith in none of them. Hopefully stupidity can get us back out.
That's all I can say, Fred. Once again, thanks. You're doing a nice job.
Hey, I appreciate you calling. I would like to give you some news here. I guarantee you've not heard anywhere else, and this was reported by Reuters. Voters in 2 Vermont towns on Tuesday approved a measure that would instruct police to arrest President George W. Bush and President Dick Cheney for crimes against our Constitution. This non-binding symbolic measure passed in Brattleboro and Marlboro, in a state known for taking liberal positions on national issues, instructs town police to extradite them to other authorities that may reasonably contend to prosecute them. Vermont, home to maple syrup and picture postcard views, is known for its liberal politics. State lawmakers have passed non-binding resolutions to end the war in Iraq and to impeach Bush and Cheney, and several towns have also passed resolutions of impeachment. None of them have caught on in Washington, and Bush has never visited the states, but roughly 12,000 people live in Brattleboro, located on the Connecticut River. These people are actually trying to make a symbolic measure of how disgusted they are with politics in Washington. So I thought that was very interesting. I never saw that covered in the mainstream press. And with the real news, we want to bring you some news you don't hear anywhere else. The phone number is 873-1400. If anyone would like to call in, sound off, would like to hear from you, the email is on air at realnewsradio.com. We're working on our website, realnewsradio.com. It's slowly going to become a real source of information. There is some videos on it now that you probably haven't seen, but we're working on it. We will have the video from today's broadcast up on Monday, so you can watch the show 24/7, and also it's now streaming on WSICweb.com, so if you're at a computer, you can listen to it anywhere around the world. I want to cover one more thing before we go to the email, and I just found this astounding. Napoleon famously said that an army marches on its stomach. That may have been true for the 19th century, but modern American military runs on jet fuel and lots of it. Today, the average American GI in Iraq uses about 20.5 gallons of fuel every day, and I'm going to have you make a guess as to what we're paying for jet fuel in Iraq. Make your guess now, and we'll be commenting on this here shortly, but we do have a phone call. We want to go to that. Hello, are you with us today?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
I do, yes, sir. You're on the Real News. What's your name, sir?
This is Bill Anderson. About 3 or 4 months ago at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was looking at the news on Fox News.
Yes, sir.
They showed a soldier in Iraq holding up an assault weapon. They showed a big batch of assault weapons, rocket grenades, bombs, the whole works, that they had just raided a safe house of the terrorists, and they had captured those weapons. Well, I've been in the military, and lo and behold, when I saw that soldier holding up that rifle, I knew it was exactly like I had seen our soldiers in Iraq carrying. The commentator said that he had checked the serial numbers on some of those rifles. He traced them back to the manufacturer here in the United States. He traced it as to where those weapons were shipped. He said that they were shipped to Saudi Arabia, and then the next place they were seen was in the hands of the terrorist in Baghdad. Now, he said he didn't know how they got from Saudi Arabia to Baghdad, but he was under the opinion they were shipped from Saudi Arabia to Syria, and they shipped those weapons over to the terrorists in Baghdad. Now, this is what makes me so mad, I cannot see straight. You know, I'm forced to buy gasoline at a terrible price. My money goes to the refineries. They ship it to Saudi Arabia and buy oil. Saudi Arabia is shipping that money back to the United States, buying weapons, and they're shipping the weapons to the terrorists in Baghdad.